I think white people are so triggered by black joy because they have zero control over it. And white people are all about control. And anything they don't get to control and manage and dictate freaks them the hell out.
They don't get to be the leader.
I don't think white people experience nearly as much joy as black people do. And I don't believe that the joy they experience is nearly as palpable, as beautiful, and as profound as black joy. And I think that that is one of the main reasons why they can't stand our asses. It's because despite them setting up society to benefit them the most,
I'm gonna keep saying this with my whole chest because some people are not deep thinkers. I understand that you're not a critical thinker. This is not for you. This is just not for you. Scroll up. So, my point today is, well, not today, but at this moment, like, why does black joy bother some white people? And some other groups, but majority is white people. And not all of you. You know what I'm talking about. You ever notice how the group of black folks, like they come together laughing, dancing, and just vibing, and suddenly it's labeled as too loud, too ghetto, or too much? Jealousy. Jealousy. You know why? Because they couldn't strip that away. And it's surviving. But let's be real. It's not about the volume that's the problem. It's the vibrations. It's the freedom. It's the fact that we can still find joy after centuries of trying to be stripped of who we are. We still make something out of nothing. You understand? See, black joy is like disruptive in certain people. It challenges. And where we're supposed to be broken and angry and silent, it's like loving, living, and celebrating. So it's not just confusion. It's threatening to a certain group of people. Because black joy, for us, is power, is resistance, it's healing, it's ancestral. Of all the things they said we could not do, it's lies. Remember, we were here way before other groups were here. And now our happiness is not a performance. It's reclaiming who we said we always were. So the next time somebody looks uncomfortable with your black joy, remember that you're not the problem. They're just uncomfortable and can't believe that after all this time, we are still celebrating who we are and who we are meant to be and who we are growing to be. So tell me, have you ever felt like your joy made somebody...
Hello guys, welcome back again to the channel. Now, what happens when a community that has faced generations of hardship refuses to live in sadness? What happens when black Americans turn that struggle into music? They turn pain into laughter. They have turned history into culture, and adversity into achievements. From that, you will get something that cannot be controlled. You get the so-called black joy. I have a problem with my eyes, I guess so. And now, some of these people are openly admitting something that many people, or many of them, may not find uncomfortable. They say that they are fascinated about it. They say that they are shocked and confused. And some of them are finding it uncomfortable to live with the truth. They find it uncomfortable to see black people joyful. Some even say that they feel jealous of the way black communities can still find happiness, can still find humor, can still find strength and connection despite everything that have been done to them. You know, you might ask yourself, why is this happening? Why are they finding it so hard to accept the black joy? You know, black joy is not simply about smiling. It is not simply about dancing. It is having a good time together as a community. And it also has some deeper history attached to it.
I'm gonna keep saying this with my whole chest because some people are not deep thinkers. I understand that you're not a critical thinker. This is not for you. This is just not for you. Scroll up. So, my point today is, well, not today, but at this moment, like, why does black joy bother some white people? And some other groups, but majority is white people. And not all of you. You know what I'm talking about. You ever notice how the group of black folks, like they come together laughing, dancing, and just vibing, and suddenly it's labeled as too loud, too ghetto, or too much? Jealousy. Jealousy. You know why? Because they couldn't strip that away. And it's surviving. But let's be real. It's not about the volume that's the problem. It's the vibrations. It's the freedom. It's the fact that we can still find joy after centuries of trying to be stripped of who we are. We still make something out of nothing. You understand? See, black joy is like disruptive in certain people. It challenges, and where we're supposed to be broken, angry, and silent, it's like loving, living, and celebrating. So it's not just confusion, it's threatening to a certain group of people. Because Black joy, for us, is power, it's resistance, it's healing, it's ancestral. Of all the things they said we could not do, it's lies. Remember, we were here way before other groups were here. And now our happiness is not a performance. It's reclaiming who we said we always were. So the next time somebody looks uncomfortable with your Black joy, remember that you're not the problem. They're just uncomfortable and can't believe that after all this time, we are still celebrating who we are and who we are meant to be and who we are growing to be. So tell me, have you ever felt like your joy made somebody else uncomfortable? Let's talk about it, y'all. To me, I don't give a flying fuck who feels uncomfortable. This is my life, my body, and if you feel uncomfortable, move the fuck away. Right? Because where I was for Black Bike Weekend, we were on the side, I'm not gonna say the grown folk side, but we like our peace. So of course, it was a mix of Black and white people. Like, we all around each other. We all talking to each other. You think anybody grabbed their purse because they see bikers in leather? No, they're used to it. They're talking, they're waving, they're like, oh, let me tell me about your bike, blah, 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 blah. These are people talking, not afraid and not jealous. There are some, but we didn't cross any this weekend, okay? But have y'all ever experienced that? Like, you having joy, you having celebration, especially with all the graduates. Did you see those comments talking about Black fatigue in the comments of Black joy celebrating the college? See, the point that I'm trying to get at is no one who doesn't, how can I say this? If you Black, you understand. It comes naturally, and it doesn't matter what state you from. We all have a common denominator of celebrating our Blackness, and people can't stand that. People can't stand that. And I'm not just talking about in America. If we go somewhere else, Black joy is celebrated different ways, but we still have that common denominator of celebrating of what we achieve regardless of the fact. Okay, I'm gonna get off my soul.
Pose the question, why do white people hate Black people so much? I have been in situations where I've been surrounded by nothing but white people. And this conversation has come up. The race conversation has come up. And no one ever has an actual reason as to why they hate Black people. There's always these, oh, Black on Black crime. Oh, they're lazy. Oh, they're this. But it's not actually, there's no legitimacy behind their reasoning. It's just shit that they've heard and they're regurgitating. And so, long story short, it really comes down to there is no reason. It's a deep-seated jealousy, a deep-seated hate that, Black people exude greatness. Black people are the great inventors. Black people are the beginning of the human race, the Eve gene. And white people have worked so hard to erase the history and erase the greatness of the Black race. Down to even when things are invented, the majority of things that are invented were invented by a Black person. But yet, the white race has actually erased the original inventor from history and have put their names on things that they had no business putting their name.
Oh, I do think that white people are absolutely jealous of Black people, specifically with the community, and also with like fashion and music and everything else that is appropriated. But by design of what whiteness is, it inherently lacks community, and I think we're absolutely jealous of that. And I've heard biracial people say that they do see that difference in their own families, because in addition to European cultures being more individualistic than cultures from Africa, South America, and indigenous North American cultures, the invention of whiteness in America erased a lot of ties to actual culture. So when I say like white people, Black community, I'm not talking about like Polish people or German people or Irish people. As as I explain in my book, I just wrote the intro and I'm working on the conclusion today. Y'all keep me in your prayers. In the course of human history, white is a relatively new term. As we discussed in the introduction to this book, white is a North American term emerging from the 1600s as a term to justify the enslavement of Africans and squelch revolts from poor Europeans and indentured servants. Before this term, Europeans would identify with their nationalities. The Irish, Italians, Germans, French are all very different cultures. Thus, there is not the same communal tie to whiteness as there is for people from other communities. Further, since white was created to be a divider, a separator, it is not a happy identity. It is not something people want to admit they relate to. It doesn't have a rich, healthy history. Speaking as a white American who has conducted national level research on white Americans, we tend to say things like we have German, Irish, Italian, etc. ancestry, even if we have never been to those places. This is because all white Americans have ties to immigration, and because these identities are actual cultures, they do not have roots only in oppression. Now, we know who started colonization, right? So this is the book I'm trying to finish by Monday and send to the editor. There's a free chapter in my bio if you're interested on one of the unwritten rules of work. The book is predominantly about class, but I talk about 3 other identities that you can't talk about class without talking about these other identities, and race is absolutely one of them.
To understand why the world always feels some type of way, like when black people are joyful, happy, like people been talking cash shit about black proms, people been talking cash shit about the way black students are celebrating graduation, okay? Like anytime black people are showing joy, showing happiness, showing creativity, it's always ghetto. It's always getting talked down upon. It's always being questioned. And I think to understand why, you have to understand jealousy and envy for real. Like if you look at jealousy on an individual level, when somebody is usually jealous of another person, first of all, they're watching that person like a hawk. They can't keep their eyes off of them. Mind you, the person that they're jealous of doesn't even pay them no fucking attention. Okay? And you can honestly see that. Like, black people as a whole usually are not paying attention to outsiders. You know, black people for the most part we're just kind of focused on ourselves and we're minding our own business. Meanwhile, everybody else is always hyper fixated, has a microscope over us, focusing on our every single move. Okay, that's jealousy and envy on a group scale, what I would call a macro level. When you see jealousy between an individual and another individual, that is jealousy and envy on a micro scale. It's between 2 different people, right? And so also too, when a person is jealous of another individual, not only are they watching them like a hawk, but they always, first of all, they're copying them. Every single thing they do, they're copying them. Okay, we've seen other groups do the same thing towards black people. They're fucking jealous and they're envious. That's what it is. But on a group level, you're copying the very, like you'll say it's ghetto and then turn around and do it yourself. Right? That's why there's always a question of why is it always ghetto when we do it? Why is it always getting talked down when we do it? But when you decide to do it, now all of a sudden it's not ghetto because it's fucking hate and it's jealousy. It's envy. That's what it is. You got to call a spade a spade. That's what it is. Just like when a person is jealous of another individual, they start copying them. They'll be talking down on them. Oh, why you wearing them shoes? You got that. And then a couple of days later, weeks later, whatever, they wearing the same things because they're fucking haters. That's what haters do. Okay? So you can recognize haters on an individual level. Then you can also recognize haters on a group to group level. Another thing that haters do is that they'll also downplay. They'll also downplay and talk bad about you because they're trying to erode your self-esteem and they're trying to erode your self-confidence. Because if they can't be you, because that's what a lot of them want to do. They want to be you. They want to emulate you. They have a spirit of lack. They have a spirit of scarcity. When they see you, they look at you as abundant. They see you as having things that, like, you are a mirror that reflects lack back to them. They see everything that they lack. And so what a lot of them do, especially those ones that are a little more sinister, the envious ones, because I feel like envy is worse than, what they'll do is they will try to make you sabotage yourself. They'll make you try to start hating or feeling some type of way about yourself. So that's one or two ways that they try to do it. They'll either try to become you, which is what we see on a group level. We see a lot of people try to become black people in various different ways, either by proximity, or they can't never physically become black people themselves. So what will they do? They'll go have kids with a black person, because that's the closest thing that they can do to becoming black in their lifetime, is to go have kids with a black person. But if they can't become you, then another thing that they'll try to do is they'll try to destroy you and get you to hate yourself. And so as a whole, the world has not successfully made black people, especially black Americans, the world has not successfully made black Americans hate themselves. And I think that is something, like, haters can't stand that. When they haven't successfully gotten you to hate yourself, because that's what the MO was, that was their motive, they wanted you to hate yourself. When they can't do that, they are furious, they are fuming, because you're not hating yourself like they wanted you to. And black Americans don't do that. Black Americans, despite all of despite the shitty history, despite the attack, despite the microaggression, despite all the bullshit, black Americans still fucking love ourselves. And that's a problem. That's really one of the problems. The other problem is that it's just your existence. You know, because when people are haters, when they just hate you for who you are, when they see you and the mirror reflects back to them lack, they literally hate your existence, because your existence reminds them of everything that they are not, everything that they can't be, everything that they would never be. Okay, so you don't ever have to open up your mouth. When you're dealing with the individual hater to another, when you're dealing with a hater hating on another individual, that individual doesn't ever have to open up their mouth and say, hey, I'm better than you. They don't ever have to do that. Their existence is telling that to the hater. That's what the haters hears every time they see this person. This person doesn't even have to have that type of heart. They don't even have to have that type of mindset. Because, you know, some people do have that type of, you know, haughty, just, that haughty type of mentality about them. They feel like they're just better than other people. But when you're dealing with a bona fide hater and they're coming across somebody that they are hating on, that individual never has to open up their mouth and say, hey, I'm better than you. Their presence, because that hater feels like they're better than me. You know, they're better. They're on their worst day, they're better than me on my best day. So their existence is constantly telling that hater, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. And that's kind of how it is with black people. Black people don't ever have to open up their mouths and be like, I'm better than you. Okay? When you look at the things, especially black Americans, when you look at the things that black Americans have created and the contributions that we've made to pop culture and the world, and just existing, just being, to the haters, to the people that talk cash shit, to the true haters of black Americans, they feel like our existence is telling them, I'm better than you. We don't ever have to open up our mouths and say that. A lot of us don't even truly feel that way in our hearts, but our existence, our creativity, our creations is yelling, screaming to them, because they're haters. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. So those are the two things that they can't stand. They can't stand our existence, because our existence is constantly telling them, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. Whether you ever open your mouth and say that, whether you truly feel that way. And also, two, they can't stand that through all the bullshit, you still are confident and you are still proud to be black. You hella love being black. They can't stand that.
So stitch this and tell me something that white people aren't ready to hear.
We white women have an inferiority complex. The Negro women have a sort of reputation for being so beautiful. We're a little jealous of them.
I guess you just envy us colored people.
That black women were there to support me and to advise me, but not to rise above or become better than me. And that's why when this black teacher was way better and more talented than me, I felt some kind of way about it. Now, I'd imagine lots and lots more white women have also internalized the same idea, and that's why they feel okay stealing black women's content and not giving them any credit, because the black women are just there to advise them anyway. But most black women are natural leaders.
We're jealous. I think we're jealous because we would love to be that, I think, and we don't know how to break out of the indoctrination that we have been suppressed by our entire life.
I'm so jealous of black people. They're just good at everything. They're just naturally athletic. They pop out of the womb and they're already playing fucking football. If they get into a fight, doesn't matter who the other person is, okay? I'm putting my money on the black person. They win every time. They got that beautiful chocolate skin that never gets burnt. They say they get sunburnt. I've never seen it. Me, 5 minutes in the sun, it looks like I was thrown into a deep fryer. They've got waterproof hair. They come out of the water, their hair's the same as when they went in. Me, I come out of the water, I look like a cancer patient. Fast as fuck in every sport. I mean, when have you seen a white guy being the fastest? Maybe in the Paralympics with the wheelchairs. Everything they do is just cooler. They've got good style, good taste in music. They can cook good. Girls always got cake. And me personally, I'm an ass guy, so all the black chicks hit my line. The guys, they've got fucking horse meat as big as my forearm. It's not fair. Leave some stuff for us. Fuck. What do we got?
So, I think we should all, as white women, just admit we're jealous of black women's hair.
Men of other races are envious of black men's ability to build muscle in the gym. Now imagine if black men had economic and political power. How would that make other races of men feel? And now imagine why we don't. These concepts are related. They are not...
After slavery, after segregation, after discrimination, economic exclusion, and countless struggles, black Americans continued creating so many things. They continued creating happiness. They found joy. They found laughter. They found comedy. They created churches and became centers of the communities. They created music that has influenced the world today. They created fashion. They created literature, they created traditions, they created arts, businesses, universities, movements, and even cultural expressions that continue shaping America that we have today. Most importantly, you have to say that black Americans developed a powerful tradition of finding joy even when the circumstances were difficult for them or their ancestors. Imagine from spirituals to gospel. Imagine from blues to jazz. Imagine from souls to hip-hop. Imagine from family cookouts to Sunday gatherings. Imagine from neighborhood celebrations to the black churches. Black joy became a form of survival for them. And here is where this conversation now becomes so interesting. There are some white Americans who look at black communities and ask that, how can people who have experienced so much still laugh like that? How can they still celebrate after that has been done to them? How can they remain so connected to their culture after trying to break their culture, after dividing them, after removing their language, after removing everything attached to them? They found a language that has become the face of America today. Some are even beginning to acknowledge that they admire the black resilience, they admire the black people, they admire the black joy, they admire how black people are carrying out themselves. Because resilience is powerful and white people don't have that resilience. When you've been knocked down and still find a reason to dance, we call that resilience. When your grandparents experience discrimination, but your generation is building businesses, becoming doctors, engineers, teachers, artists, entrepreneurs, and even leaders, that is resilience. When history tried to erase your identity, but your culture became globally influential, we call that resilience. And let me make it clear that not every white person is jealous about the black joy, but some of them, the racist ones, are very much jealous about the black joy. The racist white Americans find it so hard to accept the black resilience. But you know, when some people admit that they envy the sense of community, they envy the cultural confidence, or even ability to find happiness in difficult circumstances, it tells us something very much important. People naturally desire what they feel they're missing. And black joy can sometimes expose that absence. Because you can have money, you can have social status, you can have a comfortable life, but none of those things automatically give you a community. None automatically give you cultural connection. None automatically give you the resilience. And none can manufacture the genuine black joy. You know, historically, black joy has also carried a quiet message. It carried what can be broken. And that message alone can be incredibly powerful. Because after slavery, black families built lives. After segregation, black communities built institutions. After discrimination, black Americans continue succeeding. And despite the challenges that remain today in America, millions continue choosing to celebrate life. And that is why the cookout matters. And that is why the church matters. And that is why black music matters. And that is why family union matters. And that is why celebrating black achievements matters. And these are not merely some entertainment around. They are expressions of identity. And the lesson that we're learning today is not that one race should be jealous of another. It is the lesson that everyone should learn how to protect their joy. And the black joy has demonstrated something very much powerful, that you can acknowledge painful history without allowing that history to define your entire future. That you can remember the struggle and still celebrate. That you can recognize injustice and still laugh. That you can fight for equality and still enjoy life. That you can carry scars and still be able to dance. And that is what makes black joy that powerful. So when you see black Americans laughing, when you see these people dancing, when you see them celebrating their families, building businesses, creating music, succeeding in their careers, and even enjoying life despite everything that come before them, don't mistake that joy for ignorance of history. Sometimes that joy is the history. It is the evidence that generations survived. It is the evidence that culture survived. It is the evidence that hope survived. And the most powerful statement black joy makes is very much simple, that they are still here and they are still enjoying their lives despite all that you took them through. So guys, what do you think? Please talk to me in the comment section. And of course, if you find this video so informative, please subscribe, like, and share.